Hello, everybody. Dustin Starr here, and I have a very, very special guest with me here today. He is an ECW original, former WWE, WWF, ECW superstar. I got the one and only Justin Credible in the house. What's up, man?
How are you, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. It's good to talk to you and look at you face to face here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Man, since the announcement, we added you to the card with Gilberg and James Ellsworth, which, by the way, what a cast of characters that is, right?
I know, right?
But then you add ECW original Justin Credible, who we have not seen in years and years. What's it feel like coming back to Memphis, Tennessee?
I hadn't been to Memphis in a very long time. I worked for the Jerry Lawler territory back in 1997, right before I went to ECW. I went there as part of Vince's developmental when he wanted to make me a heel after the Aldo Montoya character. So I went to Memphis for 6 weeks. I was there when Rocky was there, when The Rock was there, Rocky
Okay,
Maivia, for
that's
that
right.
whole run. Yeah. So, but anyways, I loved it. I lived in Hendersonville. I look forward to going to Memphis, man. It's my old stomping ground. So great people, the best wrestling fans in the entire world. So I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Was that PJ Walker? Is that what you went by
Yeah, it
in
was. I
Memphis?
mean, I was grasping at that time. I was just trying to figure it out, but that was before Justin. So yeah,
Yeah, so now rewinding way back, I don't think a lot of people know this, but you were trained by Lance Storm,
yeah.
who
I
you
I
later tag team with and a major freaking primetime players. How cool is that?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I went up to Calgary in 1992 to train with the Hart brothers, and Lance was the main trainer because Lance and Chris Jericho had actually gone through the camp the year prior to me coming through.
Now that was
So,
like the dungeon, but the dungeon was gone, right?
yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a ring somewhere else in like some small place, But yeah, and Lance was the head trainer at the time, and but it was super cool, and I learned so much. And I started my first 10 matches were actually in Calgary for their territory, so I was very, very, very lucky.
Now, I did read a just like a typical wrestling story, like right, you go to the arena to try to shake some hands and say hello, and they just kind of like just let you in, and you met was it Tony Garea or something
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
I've heard this
exactly.
story through a couple different people, but you were in such tremendous shape and tanned up. This was Aldo Montoya days, right? And walked
Yeah.
in and tell us that story. Like, how did you go in and you just like walked into the place?
Well, I mean, here's what happened. I remember this vividly. It was the arena they ran was New Haven, Connecticut, where they would run once a month at that time, the old WWF. And I came from Calgary. I had my first 10 matches, but the Indies were not what it is today, so I wasn't getting much work. There wasn't a lot of independent shows at the time, and I was getting frustrated. So I just, they always said to me when I was getting trained, go and meet people, introduce yourself. So I went. I was a young kid. I was so ignorant. Like I wouldn't do this today. I wouldn't have the balls knowing what I know, but I was just so ignorant. I was like, oh, I'll just walk in and introduce myself. And that's what I did. Innocently enough, they let me in. And Tony Garea, I introduced myself. And as you know, as one of the boys, you're always supposed to bring your gear. So I said, Mr. Garea, I have my gear. If you need anybody, I'm here. And he goes, well, we don't need anybody tonight, but, watch the show. So I watched the show and I thanked him afterwards, and he was like, well, we're starting a new show in Manhattan called Monday Night Raw. We need some jobbers, extras, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And that's how I first got introduced to wrestling in the WWF. I started doing jobs on Monday Night Raw and then, the other programs. And then I started to, get to know people and network, and they liked who I was. And, long story short, and I got a job, you
There
know?
you go. Talking to Justin Credible, man. Coming this weekend, this Sunday, he'll be in Memphis. You're doing the loop. You're going to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yep.
But TV is on Sunday. What? That is like such a true just wrestling story where I remember one of the first times that I was an extra. I went down to the pyramid in Memphis,
That's
went
right.
to the
Yeah.
pyramid. And I was such a young kid, like you say, you don't really know. So somebody, I said, where do I check in as an extra? And they're like, right through that door. And I
Mhm.
looked on the door and it said production meeting.
Oh boy.
And I go, I don't know about that. So I walk up and I put my hand on the door and I look back and they were still watching me. because you know it was a rib. They
Right.
were going to
It
have
was
me
the
walk
rib.
right
Yeah.
in on Vince's production meeting. So I just said, I'll just wait until they come out. I'm like, I'll just wait till
Yeah.
they come out. And they
That's
laughed and
hilarious.
walked off. And I thought, oh my gosh, I would have been dead if I did that.
That's
When I walked
hilarious.
in there. You walk right in and you get a job, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, but I was so innocent, and I just didn't. You know what I mean? You don't know
Yeah.
sometimes, and you take a stab at it. Like I said, if I
Especially
knew what
saying, well, I brought my bag.
right,
Of course
but
you did,
knowing what I
bro.
know today, I wouldn't have had the balls. I'd have
Right.
been so scared, But I was so young and dumb. I was like, okay, like do do do, but it worked.
So then you debuted as Aldo Montoya.
Yes.
How did so is that just creative comes to you? How do they present this to you? Were there like drawings and because on these
Yeah.
documentaries we see the drawings and all that kind of stuff and I've never had one presented to me. So what did that look like?
Well, it's a fun story, and I'll tell it really quick. As an extra, remember when Brian Lee did the double Undertaker thing?
Yes.
I live in Connecticut, born and raised, still do to this day. You know that. And Stamford is where the office is. So they set up a ring, and as an extra, they needed a guy to take bumps. So it was me, Mark, original Undertaker, and Brian, working on the Undertaker the fake Undertaker to debut. So I was basically just a bump guy. And on the last day, we were working Monday through Friday. Pat Patterson and Vince McMahon came down, and we ran through dress rehearsal because they wanted to see how Brian Lee looked as the fake Undertaker. And then afterwards, Pat Patterson got in the ring and he's like, "Hey, kid," started asking me questions. And one of the questions he asked me was, "What nationality are you?" And I said, "I'm Portuguese." And he yells over to Pat or to Vince, "Hey, Vince, this kid's Portuguese." And I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." And he goes, "Do you speak it?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do," which I do. And he goes, "Hey, Vince, he speaks Portuguese." The whole time they were looking for Aldo Montoya, the character, Portuguese man of war.
There you go.
They just didn't find a dude. Again, right place, right time, right
Mm.
nationality. And that's how I got into as the Aldo thing. So again, just being there, being available, and being the right guy at the right time, I guess.
I actually liked the character. I thought it
Yeah,
looked cool.
I thought it
Growing up
could.
watching, it was super cool. And you were jacked. So what is there not to like? I know it was kind of hokey and whatever, but
A
that's
little
what
hokey,
wrestling, yeah, that's what wrestling was back then,
but
especially.
the original drawings looked so cool. The mask is what killed it, I think, because like the way the drawings were, I looked like a superhero, almost like a Power Ranger,
Yeah,
you know. And but they never could get the mask right, and they rushed it because they wanted me to debut at a certain time. So
right.
they rushed production of it, but it was what it was. But it was a great stepping stone for me. Again, I was there for 3 years as Aldo. I got to work all over the world, wrestling 200 plus days a year, really learning my craft, working with world class guys, and really helped me to when I went into ECW, like to know my craft. It was a great experience.
Speaking of ECW, before I let you go, we got to
Yes, sir.
talk some ECW because
Yes, sir.
Memphis, Tennessee loves them some ECW. Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
This place goes nuts when Tommy Dreamer's here. Rhino has been
Yep.
here. Jerry Lynn came and conducted a
Gary's the best.
seminar while he was, with AEW, which was tremendous for us. Shane Douglas, the franchise, threw
Oh,
our
he's the
internet
best too.
championship in the
Yeah.
trash and debuted a new one. So, like, all these guys in the Sandman. The Sandman did his epic walk through the Wrestle Center and whoop some ass with a kendo stick. And I know you know a thing or two about kendo sticks, so I think this weekend is going to be awesome. Memphis loves them some ECW. Now you were the ECW world champion.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a belt in here. We need you to sign, brother.
Oh, absolutely.
Right next to
Anything
the Sandman.
anything you need, my friend.
Very,
I'm
very
grateful.
cool.
I'm so happy to come to Memphis, man. It really is a homecoming of sorts, and I'm super excited to see everybody, see the fans, and just have a good time, man. And hopefully do what I do as good as I can do it at my advanced age.
Absolutely. Hey man, this is going to be great. I just can't wait for it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Before we go, you're like a lightning rod. I told you before we got on the air, you're like a lightning rod. If we post something about you, there's people in the comments. There's good, there's bad.
Sure.
There's people that want to really cheer for you and see you rise back up or whatever the case may be. But either way, whether it's good or bad, they are talking about you. What do you want to say to those people before you come to Memphis, man?
I just want to say, please come out to see the shows because one thing is for sure. I will give you everything I have in this body. I will put on the best shows possible, and I really look forward to entertaining each and every one of the fans that come out. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to be hardcore, man. So bring your popcorn, man. We're going to kick some butt.
Word around the campfires, it might get a little extreme here
A
on
little bit,
Sunday.
a little bit,
So
a
get
little
those
bit.
tickets, reserve your seat while they're still there. MemphisWrestling.tv. Justin Credible, man, thank you so much for joining me here
Oh,
today.
it's my pleasure, man. I can't wait to see you Friday. I can't wait.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we got you Friday in Osceola, Saturday in Boonville, and then on Sunday right here at the Wrestle Center in Memphis, Tennessee. We'll see you there. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you so much.